call this press conference to announce my candidacy for the U.S. House. I'm Cheryl Crist, and I'm running for the U.S. House of Representatives to represent the 3rd Congressional District. I call myself the Peace Candidate. And there are two things I'm announcing today, not just that I am running and the reasons I'm running, but also to give you some information from civilian sources which will counter the arguments presented by the current incumbent in the district. And I'll get to that in a moment. So, why I'm running. I have a son who's active duty military, and it is important to me that our military be used in good and just ways. This last August, I began to hear the incumbent starting to sell us the war, to talk the way the Bush administration has been talking, to tell us that we're stuck in Iraq, that we have no choice. It's our moral duty to stay there because the people who have helped us there will be in jeopardy if we leave. Now, it seems to me that that could put us there forever, because at any time we disengage, it could be the people who have helped us will be in jeopardy. So I've decided that I need to jump into the race to help stop this war in Iraq. We need a change, and we need to spend our money for more peaceful needs on civilian projects, schools, roads, bridges, flood control projects. There are many things that we could spend our collective money on besides war and more war and more war. You know, in visiting my son, I traveled to Japan, and I saw there that they have these maglev trains. The trains in Japan can lift up off the tracks and zoom ahead with no friction. Very modern, very fast, hundreds of miles an hour. And they have that, we have war. Lots and lots of war. You look at Canada and their health system, or look at Europe now with free college for people who can do the work, along with a living stipend while you go to college. Europe has great health care, but we get war. What's wrong with this picture? So this is why I call myself the Peace Candidate. I'm going to be a salesperson for the more peaceful uses of our tax dollars. Now, some of the sources that I want to give you and why I think it's important for us to listen to civilians and not just the military. And I want to add here that I've noticed, as far as I can tell, the military has no internal restraint system. It seems as if there's no constraint or restraint on their elaborate plans and projects with exorbitant budgets. No restraint but us, the civilian population. So it's important for us to speak up and put on the brakes. Otherwise, what would be the result? More wars, 100-year wars, as John McCain likes to say. Okay, so the first item that I want to present to you is a U.S. government report from the Government Accountability Office. This was issued last September 4th. General Petraeus talked to the Congress on September 11th. And I would, for the people in the press, call your attention to page 9. I haven't given you the whole report because we're saving trees, but on page 9 you see an asterisk there. It's your page 3 in your set of papers. The asterisk which indicates it's very hard to tell whether violence is down as a result of escalating the number of troops in Iraq. There were conflicting bar charts, conflicting graphs. And so, well before General Petraeus went to the House to speak to Congress, there were these conflicting civilian reports that did not substantiate what he told in his testimony. Another source I would like to point out that had a big impression on me, just recently I watched this DVD called Meeting Face to Face, the Iraq-U.S. Labor Solidarity Tour. And there's information in your press packets where you can get a copy of this DVD yourself. And for the people who are not in the press, we'll make sure that if, on your sign-in sheet you know where you could get one. What this is Iraqi labor leaders who are organizing in Iraq, and of course they have to do it illegally because the current government does not allow labor unions in Iraq. So the American labor movement, labor leaders here, invited 6 Iraqi labor leaders to come and to tour and talk to labor groups all over the country to give this civilian view of what's going on there. And when you hear them, you see them as people. These are mature people, longtime labor leaders from before Saddam Hussein took over the country. And when you see them sincerely asking American labor members to get your soldiers out of our country, it just really is moving. So I hope that people will take a chance to inform themselves of this kind of thing. The Iraqis themselves speaking earnestly to the American people, saying, please take your soldiers out of here and let us build the country our way. So that is my message. This is just 3 of the pieces of evidence that I'm giving that will refute what the current Congressman Brian Baird is saying. There's a clear choice in this election. More war, stay the course in Iraq, give the military whatever they need, whenever they need it, or spend for peaceful purposes the kinds of things that civilians want for their country. There's one more. This piece gives some examples of the kinds of things we could have spent our money on instead of war. Washington State's proportion of the billions spent, it's about, approaching $500 billion now. Washington State taxpayers' share of that is $10.4 billion. For that same money, we could have had 1,557,000 and more people with health care, over 1 million Head Start places for children, 179,000 additional elementary school teachers, 3,960,000 and more children with health care, 57,210 affordable housing units. This is just Washington's share. 1,091 new elementary schools, 1.8 million scholarships for university students, 179,889 music and arts teachers, and over 9 million homes with renewable electricity. And the source for this information is National Priorities Project, nationalpriorities.org. So, this is it. I've been a citizen activist trying to stop the war from before it started. We've done everything we can. If you've been reading the papers, you know we've marched, we've sat in at the offices. I just can see no other way to turn than to run for office myself, try to get there, and vote for peace. Vote to cut off the funding in Congress. So that's my announcement today. Are there any questions?